Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today we're playing the T-50. As I'm sure many know, this is a Soviet light tank at 2.7 with some pretty good armour and very nice mobility. Its main weakness is it's got a very poor turret traverse. Now this game is played on my alt account, so it is using stock crews. It's not fully spaded out or anything like that. But we are on a port, and I'm choosing to head down the water. I've got good mobility, I'd like to use it to flank. I could rush the cap, but it's a little dangerous in there, and that's not really my way, especially given that this is a full-up tier. I'm fighting in a 3.7 game, and I don't really want to go in against things that I know I can't pen frontally. It's only about 65 mils of pen on this gun. It's not going to have a huge amount of damage out, but if I have to take on a lot of things frontally. We've got a Chaffee up ahead, so I'm going to twist there, just thankfully dodge out of the way of his shot. Wasn't quite paying full attention when he first appeared, and we're going to tuck in behind these buildings. Now he has popped smoke, but is not really using it to mask anything. He's just choosing to push forwards through it, which is a very odd decision. But that's one shot and one tank down. I can still hear a bit of firing near me, so I'm not going to go anywhere for now. I'm just going to stay behind this building, keep myself safe, and wait and see if anything else turns up. Especially while the smoke's there. I don't want to drive into the unknown. It's just really not a very good way to keep yourself alive. Back up and have a peek. I don't see anything, but I can hear a bit of engine revving going on, so my intent is to reposition and maybe see if I can get around. Of course, intentions change when new targets turn up. We have people engaging whatever this is to my side, so I'm going to take shots, however poorly, at this Japanese tank over here. Not having much luck with the penetrations, unfortunately. And there we go, in the end it finally got through, and this should really pen it first time. It's certainly not got that much armor on Sheehy, but got him in the end. Although both the teammates I had with me died when they tried to charge down. Panzer IV's just there. I'm not going to go over it until I've got my turret round a bit first. Make sure he's moving up. He's not looking up to his side. Yeah, driver's out. Got a fantastically quick reload. I can finish him off nice and fast after that first round. This is one of the last tanks with a fast reload like that. Once you hit the sort of 3.0 area, most tanks start to get into the usual sort of 6 seconds, as opposed to the 3 that this has got. I was a little surprised that Soki penned me, actually. My memories of the T-50 are that that its armor was absolutely incredible. First time I ever played this thing in arcade, back when I was a fresh-faced War Thunder player. I remember having tanks sat all around me, just bouncing over and over and over again. So 10 people trying to kill me, and it just wouldn't go down. I don't know if it's been nerfed, or just things in the game have changed, the meta's shifted. It's not had any BR changes, some of its opponents have, but I certainly found it getting penned a lot more here. Now in that case, that's nothing for that shot there. Nothing I wouldn't have already expected. That was a heat round from a Panzer 3N. It's got about 100mm of pen. It's more than capable of going through. Although in this case, he just got the fuel on my track. I'm not going to have much success penning him back myself, though. Not with all those side skirts and spaced armor on the front of his tank. Certainly not at that range. It's going to struggle. We're just trying to now work our way back into the cap, coming from the flank, coming behind the opponents. Make sure that we're staying out of their frontal gun arcs if possible, and preferably also away from their frontal armor. Unfortunately though, in the meantime my team is slowly dying off around the cap. We found a chaffee here, so use the good hold traverse to try and make up for some of that port turret. Get him in the gun arc and take him down. He wasn't prepared for someone coming from this direction. I do have another ally down here with me who is sort of keeping any enemies from coming back into the battle for a bit, which gives me a chance to push in without too much fear of getting shot on the side. This is the main danger of flanking. There's going to be enemies coming back from their respawn, and they will now be coming around into my back. But there's two there. We've got another Panzer III. It's either an N or an M. It was an M. I went for his engine first to make sure he couldn't turn towards us. They've got relatively slow turrets. Certainly slow enough that my fire rate is going to be able to shoot before they get into view. Sorry, into arc. And the same again with the Panzer III. Just shooting him in the back there. He can't turn his turret fast enough. I can freely just fire away. And if he does somehow survive long enough, then I can start to run before he gets into arc for me for the return shot. That's also cleared the cap and allowed my team to take control of it though, so we've got a few more respawns available for some of our players. We've knocked out a few of the enemies, and now I just need somewhere to hide. At least that was my hope. There are still enemies around. Panzer IV F2 there, he's one of the biggest threats they have on their team. That long-barreled 75 will make absolute mincemeat of my armour. And that's a... oh god, how do you say it? Leoncello, I believe. That's an Italian tank. You don't see a lot of them. It's a premium. It's one of only 2 vehicles available to the Italians right now. Pretty decent armour, fairly comparable to a T-34. And down behind him is another Panzer IV F2. Just taking out his turret crew. Try and steer around this Cromwell wreck. I can't push him fast enough to be able to finish him off before his turret crew comes back. So instead I'm just getting into cover, and I'm going to sit and wait until some reinforcements get back here. So he's right next to the cap, which isn't very good for us. He could decap it. And sadly, the vast majority of my reinforcements are also going to be anti-aircraft guns. Although they should be able to pen him if they can get on his side, which this little armoured car is doing. I honestly don't know what that shot was. We'll ignore that. But he can't ignore the armoured car going round him. So he starts turning his turret, and that's my opportunity. I was a little overeager to move back into combat here, and I didn't see this Chinu until it was too late. I was already out around the corner. Couldn't reverse it in time, and gave my life for the cause as a result. So we'll respawn in the BT-7, and let's try and get back in and hold on to that cap. This is the same gun as the T-50. Little more speed, a lot less armour. Although the T-50's armour wasn't really holding up to most of these guns either. So ultimately we'll be wanting to play it in pretty much the same way. Now, this time instead I'm going to head out over to the west. I'll try and approach from a different side, still preferably coming from the flank, as it's a bit less expected, but not going the same way again. It'll take too long to get back out there. Now, I did mention before that I feel like the T-50 has been getting penned more than it used to. And while it's not had any effect on this particular battle, I think the main reason is there was a solid shot buff in the past few months. Now this has ultimately not affected the penetration, but it has affected how the spalling is dealt. I think essentially before, the 2 pounds and the 37mm were penning the T-50's turret front quite reliably. It just wasn't really with enough excess penetration to cause any spalling afterwards, whereas now it's much more reliably spalling, and as a result my T-50 has been dying a lot more. It feels a lot less of the powerhouse it used to. Still an absolutely fantastic tank though. Oh, just driving back here and just took a glance to the side and see little Tarsay. I'm pretty sure he saw me. I'm not sure why he didn't choose to fire. That will absolutely rip through this tank. He did definitely see me that second time when he peeked, but managed to clip his driver, stop him getting around the corner. I'm very thankful I did look to the right there. I don't always check my corners. I should. Sometimes just forget it. You see, this time I made sure to check the corner after having that little surprise. There's a tank just off, slightly off south from me. And so I'm going to try and get around into his flank. But we are rapidly losing players around the cap again. There's a Panzer IV, so engine first. It's going to take him a while to turn his turret. This gives me time for a lot more shots. And make sure he doesn't get away. So we'll knock out his turret crew. And now hold the shot. He won't have any crew in the turret for a little bit. Bad hitboxes there on the wall. Just because I can see him doesn't mean I can shoot him. But we wait. Once the crew reposition, we fire again. Now let's once more try and move in and see if we can get rid of what's on the cap. Although I can't see for the moment due to all this artillery smoke, so I'm just going to hold position, avoid the artillery, and avoid going into the unknown. I had no idea what this was until I fired. I could just see some movement. Panzer IIIN. He's been taken out by a T-50. So I'm going to move in. This cap is split sort of half on either side of this mess of trains here. You can sort of fire from one side to the other, but it's not ideal. So I want to move in around behind them. Keep an eye out for whatever this is ahead of me that's firing its cannon. Hopefully it doesn't know I'm coming, but I've no idea what it is, and I don't want to get in front of it, so just be a bit cautious. The T-50 is calling for, well, not calling for backup, he's marking he's got an opponent near him. It's probably the guy I'm stalking. Hopefully a little distracted as a result of him approaching that T-50, but there he is. Driver gunner. Stu-42 is an absolute monster these days if you encounter it frontally. But side on like that, it works out pretty well. Driver gunner first, engine second, just to make sure he's really not going to turn around if something bad happens with my third shot. And now let's get that cap back. Thank God they were small bombs, that could have ended very quickly. I don't want to stay here for long. In fact, I don't want to stay here at all. We've already got a T-50 and an anti-aircraft capping. I don't need the points. And it's not a good idea to have everyone clustered in one spot, so we're just going to tuck in behind a building and hide instead. There's so few players now at this stage. I don't want to go away from the cap. I want to stay near it and make sure the enemy doesn't get it back. But there is an engine. There is definitely an engine. I'm trying to see if I can tuck in and hide as much of myself as possible behind this little bit of wall, but it's not going to work. We can't afford to let them get close to this cap. Just got to sit. Kill my engine so that they don't hear where I am. Helps me hear where they are. Definitely on the other side of this building. There goes his engine smoke. That's a Gepard. really not something I want to take on. But we're managing to hold the cap and hold the game. So all around, it's we've done a good job. We've pulled it above our weight for an up-tiered game, half of which has had to be fought in what is essentially a reserve tank, and it all worked out nicely. Well, that's everything for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.